And this is one of the interesting elements of Anglia, that they have this step-by-step, and each step is documented in a very professional way. So you can see exactly what the student needs to know at which level. So yeah, I think that's a big advantage for teachers, that you can always see where they are and how they can get better, how they can improve, how they can grow. Yeah. So I think that's, yeah, interesting.
All right, so thank you very much. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome back to ETC 2021. We hope you had a nice break, and thank you for joining us again. So we will start our second general plenary session. And for this session, our moderator will be Mr. Sueb. And we have two distinguished speakers for this afternoon, and they are Mr. Professor Arnold Agustijn, the Director of Asian Education Group, or AEG, and Anglia, Netherlands. And we also have Mr. Ahmad Munir, M.Ed, Ph.D, as the head of English Language Education Study Program at UNESA. So I would like to say hello first to Mr. Sueb. Hello, Mr. Sueb, good afternoon.
Hello, Melia, good afternoon. Really happy to see you again. How are you this morning and this afternoon? Is everything okay? The first session?
Yep, everything is okay.
Okay.
All right. Yep. Okay, so by this, I would like to give Mr. Sueb the time and screen. So Mr. Sueb, you are pleased to take over. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Melia, MC, and ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and good morning to our speaker, Professor Augustine in Netherlands. I think it's early morning in Netherlands. I hope that everything is going well. We do sorry for disturbing your Saturday morning. Hopefully we are all doing well and we are doing healthy and happy. So Bapak Ibu, good afternoon here from Surabaya, and welcome to the second plenary sessions of today's conference. So my name is Sueb, so I'll be serving as the moderator for this live presentation and discussion by the speakers on the second plenary sessions. So joining with us this session, we have two prominent speakers. We have Bapak Professor Arnold Augustine from Anglia Education Netherlands, and also we have Bapak Ahmad Munir, Ph.D, the head of English Language Education Program, UNESA. So thank you very much for joining with us this afternoon, Professor Augustine and Pak Munir. So really thank you. We do appreciate for your participations and for your commitment for being part of this conference. So ladies and gentlemen, before we begin this session, I would like to address some, a few housekeeping notes during the plenary session. So today's sessions will be streamed online through our YouTube channel for non-business and academic purposes. So we request your consent for the recording, and it's available for public and accessible after this event. So I have activated the chat box feature in this Zoom. So if you have any questions for the presenters or any idea related to our discussion, so please be welcome to type in the chat box, or you might click the raise hand button to address your questions directly to the speakers. So each presenter today will be speaking for about 20 minutes respectively. However, we will hold all your questions until the end of the presentations by the two speakers, and I will read questions, or I'd like to allow you to address your question directly. So those are the few housekeeping notes. Let's greet our first speaker of today's sessions, Professor Arnold Augustijn. Thank you very much, Professor, for joining with us this afternoon or this morning from Netherlands. So Professor Augustijn has been leading networks of teachers from various countries to work together and use international communications to make teaching easier and more attractive. So Professor Agustijn is also a part of Anglia Netherlands, also English Education Group Director, Asian Education Group Directors, and for your information that he is a real English teacher. For he has earned his master's degree in English at Utah University in 1987, even when I was not born yet, Professor.
Yeah.
That your master's is even older than I am right now. So we can say that you are very experienced and passionate teachers. So ladies and gentlemen, Bapak Ibu, so we will learn a lot from Professor Agustijn about English, especially this topic this afternoon. Professor is going to talk about the support of technology in English learning across nations. So ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, I would like to welcome Professor Agustijn to address the presentation. Professor, please.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me. It is an honor and a pleasure to be here and to be able to share some ideas with you. I have been working in Indonesia for about 4 years now, 3-4 years. We started in March, April 2018. And we had our first meetings in Jakarta with the PGRI and Professor Eko. And over the past 1.5 years, obviously, we have not been able to travel. So we have been working online with our colleagues, Ms. Novi, Ms. Sabrina in Jakarta. And I must say they are doing a wonderful job in connecting with schools. My background is I'm a teacher of English, and I have been teaching for over 35 years in different levels of education. And I met with Anglia 25 years ago in May 1996. And I have been working for Anglia ever since. And in the Netherlands, we grew from 50 students in 1996 to 21,000 students just before the pandemic. Unfortunately, many schools are closed and many schools are suffering. Students are not in a good position. So at the moment, it is very different from what it was 2 years ago. But in this presentation, I would like to share with you some positive elements of what has happened, because in these 18 months, we have also seen that working together has benefits and has advantages. This is the group of Asian countries that we work with, and the focus is mostly on Indonesia and Philippines, but the ambitions are to spread the work and to try to cooperate with more Asian countries in the future. On the next slide, you can see that the Anglia network is all over the world. So we have a number of centers in Europe, but we are growing very fast also in South America, with Argentina and Uruguay as countries where many students are now adopting Anglia to learn English step by step. And of course, our focus today will be on Indonesia, and the focus will be on what we have been doing over the past 1.5 years. On the next slide, you can see that in March 2020, in our country, as in your country, we have seen that many schools were closed and that everybody had to come up with the new ideas of teaching English. And what happened was that in February 2020, there were some 15% of all the teachers in the Netherlands had ever worked with online teaching and online learning. And after 3 months, this percentage has grown to 98%. So that we all had to adapt so quickly. And so what has happened is that in those 18 months, we have had a lot of experiences online. And this is what we would like to focus on today. What have we learned and how can we share this with teachers around the world? Because I think it's absolutely clear, as you can see in this slide, that so many school children miss out on their personal learning. The UNESCO figures are 131 million and 870 million are facing disruptions. I think it's absolutely a big problem that we will have to work on, that we will have to face. And I'm very happy that we have this technology. Like now, I can talk to you from my chair here in my house in Heuven in the Netherlands, and it's possible to have this connection. What are the changes? As I already indicated, more use of online learning, and also getting more used to it, getting more experience. I remember the very first time that I was online, I was really looking for which button to push and how to do things. And now I feel even, I have so much more experience, and there are so many sessions that we have been doing with teachers, but also with students. We have created breakout rooms so that not all the sessions are in big groups, but that we can start with a plenary introduction, but then break into small groups. And one of the biggest advantages, I think, of working with different countries, working with different nationalities, is that in these breakout rooms, you can have groups of from different countries. Like yesterday afternoon, we had an EU speaking club where students from Greece and Turkey and Ukraine were talking to students from the Netherlands and Spain. And I think that was absolutely very interesting. And the other thing is that the platform that we have created doesn't only have a live meeting section, but it also has a part where you can offer courses. And I think in these courses, we can see the biggest benefits of recording, for example. And as a result, we can now listen to homework. Well, this is absolutely amazing, that you can listen to homework and you can use analytics, and you can, we have discussions in Roosendaal about certain presentations of Indonesian students. And in the beginning, we were just happy that it all worked and it was technically okay. But now we are taking one step further, and we are trying to find out how can we guide these students from B1 level to B2 level. What is the big difference between the Common European Framework, B1 and B2? And how can these students take this step from B1 to B2? And what is the advice we should give them? What happened was that in March, we had a group of students in the Netherlands who were preparing for Anglia examinations, and they were about 500. We put them online straight away. Later on, the next school year, in September is the start of our school year, the group was growing to about 800. And then in April 2021, we had the groups in Indonesia joining. So the numbers grew to about 1,200. Next year, we really hope that we will have more students, because the more nationalities we have, the more interesting I think it is, both for the teachers, but definitely for the students. So we have started cooperation with Japan, Turkey, Czech Republic, Ukraine, and some other new countries. In the next slide, we can see how the digital development makes it possible to work together more efficiently. And some people say, okay, but does it mean that we have to start teaching in a completely different way? Well, I don't think so. I think that it is not so much a new way of learning English because the basics of language haven't changed. I think the basics of language are still there, but they are newly arranged. They are offered in a different way. And I think that especially for young people, this makes a big difference because they are very much interested in speaking out loud and hearing their own voices and getting used to doing presentations. I think that is a big benefit of using these kind of platforms and using the courses. What hasn't changed is what you can see in the next slide, which is the Anglia Basics. So this, I think, is the underlying structure of Anglia. It's a robust architecture. And at the moment in Indonesia, we are working in B1. We start with A1 preliminary, primary preliminary. We have a group elementary. In my country, the primary level is used in primary school, so at the age of 10, 11, 12. And then preliminary is used 12 years for 12-year-olds. And then slowly they grow to the higher levels. Indonesia, the latest course was also at B1 level and B2 level, advanced. So the UNESA students of Ms. Iwati are taking this at advanced level and doing very well. And we are now preparing for February 2022, the top 2 levels of proficiency and masters. I think this is the most important slide of the presentation. This is the backbone of Anglia. This is what makes it possible in all these different offers of online learning and everything, to have a very clear guidance of where are we, where can we guide our students, and how can they progress to the next level. So I think this is really, and we've been working with this for 25 years, and it is absolutely, I think because of its simplicity, because it is very clear and it is very transparent, that's why it is so good. At least that's what I think. I mean, in the beginning, when I met Anglia, and when I saw the examinations and I saw all the materials, I thought it was fairly simple. But later on, I found out that that was also one of the strengths of the program, that it is a simple program and that people can understand it. And that, right, because of the time, I think we should move on to the guidance for the teachers. We have a handbook for teachers, which is I think 100 pages with a lot of information, and also step 2 books at each level. So at each level, there are books that you can use. What have we been doing online? We have made a number of exercises. And again, what we try to do is not make it too, you know, flashy or too happy clappy. It is very simple. It is very easy to use, but it's very effective. So you listen to these pairs. So this is an exercise at A1 level where they learn meet and greet, feed and eat, sheep and keep. And they also repeat it and they record it. And when they record it, our markers in Roosendaal, our teachers in Roosendaal listen to it and we give feedback. And for the young ones, this is fairly simple, but at the higher levels, it gets more complicated. If we look on the next slides, we can see a reading sample of elementary level, where the students get a piece of text and they get immediate option to check, so they can see what they have been doing straight away. We have drag and drop, as you can see on the next page. And then in the next slide, we also have the writing, where, for example, they have to talk about their favorite countries in about 120 words. And this has changed over the past few months in Indonesia, because there we have introduced artificial intelligence feedback. In the next slide, we still look at the speaking options, the recording, and then the next is also about speaking and presenting. Beautiful picture of Ms. Novi there. And then we have the presenting part that is on the next slide, where the students are together. You can see a group of Japanese students here. And this is, I think, a very interesting element as well, where the young people, they learn how to do a presentation online. And yesterday we had a session with Ms. Novi. One of the students said, "Oh, I'm trembling, I'm so nervous." And this was like, you know, it is good to have this experience. It is good to learn in this way. Now, one of the new things that we have on offer is the artificial intelligence reports. We work together with a company in England, an organization called Gradingly and the English Marker. And what they do is that they have developed a system where the compositions that students hand in will be marked within 40 seconds. Within 40 seconds. When I first heard this, I couldn't believe that this was possible. And I couldn't believe that this would be good. And I know that it is not perfect. I mean, they don't say that it is perfect, but it is a very, very interesting tool, because it gives us teachers guidelines on how to develop and how to improve and how to guide our students. And also, we have been using it for 10 weeks now in Indonesia. The students like it very much. They are impressed and they become better. If we look at the next slide, we can see some more details of what the feedback is. So they get feedback on the vocabulary, they get feedback on grammar, on the content, structure. So it is very, very comprehensive. And because we only have 20 minutes, I can't go into the details, but if you have any questions, I'm perfectly willing to give you some more details. This is an overview of the students, and this is something that we want to develop. So we have a list of 200 students, but I just took some out to give you an indication of how it works. They have their own level, then they have the level that the artificial intelligence gives them based on the work, but also things like word length and sentence length. But again, time is too short to go into the details. However, if you have any questions, I will go into that. The Dutch influence of this program is, I don't know if you know this Dutch element of Dutch people, that they don't like paying high prices. So we like to have things not so expensive. I can tell you Anglia is about 50% of what the other examination boards charge. Why is this? Because we are a teacher group. We have an international group of teachers, and teachers do most of the work. And I also want to invite you, teachers from Indonesia, to join us as platform teachers on this on the Anglia platform, but also perhaps if you're interested as markers, as moderators, as summer school teachers. I could talk for a day about what we do, but I will not, obviously I will stick to the time and just mention some future plans. In 2022, we will also introduce medical English, English for employment. We will start working on the Paris Olympics and offering English and French to people who want to go there. We started EU speaking clubs, which we want to continue, and we have a program called Building Bridges. You can find everything on the Indonesian website. And I want to thank you very much for your attention. And I hope really that we can empower more learners in Indonesia to dream in English. Thank you so much for your attention, and I hope that we can discuss certain elements in the question and answer part of this seminar. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Professor, for sharing the information about the supports of technology in the teaching of English across nations. So I'm really happy about that information that ACT is going to inspire us related to how the new trend of the emerging technology in the teaching of English, especially in different countries. Thank you very much, professors. So ladies and gentlemen, Bapak Ibu, if you have any questions for Professor Agustine, please add them in the chat, write them on the chat box, or raise your hand later on. We will be able to answer or allow you to address your question directly to the speakers later on. Now, we move on to the second speaker this afternoon, Bapak Ibu. We have Pak Ahmad Munir, a Ph.D. Pak Munir, thank you very much for joining with us. Pak Munir is currently serving as the head of English Language Education Program at UNESA. So previously, he's been in charge at the Language Center of the university and also head of Master's degree of Language and Literature Education at the same university. So earning his doctoral degree from Monash University in the area of teacher education. So we can say that his research interests are in the area of classroom discourse, English teachers, professional development, and of course, teacher educations. So with the main idea of his expertise is to encourage teachers to theorize their teaching practice, especially among English teachers. So with his expertise in the area of teacher education, ladies and gentlemen, today we will have a session with Pak Munir. We're going to discuss more with the title of Fostering English Teachers' Positions to Develop Personal Practical Theory from the Experience During the Pandemic. Pak Munir, are you ready to share your interesting topic this afternoon, Pak Munir?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Pak Munir.
Oh, is my slide on the screen now?
Yes, it's visible and you are audible. So I'd like to hand the screen to you, Pak Munir.
Okay, thank you, Pak Sueb. It's an honor to be here accompanying Prof. Agustine from the Netherlands in English Teaching Conference 2021. I'm here going to present topic Fostering English Teachers' Position to Develop Personal Practical Theory from Experiences During a Pandemic. From the previous keynote speakers in the morning, we have Bu Gilang, yeah, and in the afternoon we have Prof. Agustine's presentation. These two keynote speakers have shared with us success stories, yeah, by English teachers. Yeah. Bu Gilang herself is an English teacher. Prof. Agustine is also an English teacher, yeah, running an international education called Anglia. Yeah. Bu Gilang was interested in, was successful in telling us how to decrease learning loss in English language learning during a pandemic. And Prof. Agustine has shared with us how technology has overcome problems in English language teaching during pandemic. So these are examples of success stories in English teachers' practice. How can we then theorize our successes? This is the purpose of my presentation this afternoon. So I would like to foster the teacher's position to develop personal practical theory. Yep, my presentation will cover what personal practical theory is, whether we, the English teachers, have capacity to develop personal practical theory. And I would like also to show you empirical data that English teachers, not only in Indonesia, but also in the world, have actually articulated their personal practical theories. And finally, how the profession and also the government policy have supported English teachers to develop their personal practical theory. So yeah, from the word personal practical theory, we can grasp the idea that this theory is taken from practice, yeah? And this theory is personal, subjective. That is why if you read books on knowledge of teachers, yeah, I have already quoted Magubai 2004, Buloh 1997, and Kortagen and Kessel. Yeah, these two authors are from the Netherlands. Yeah. You will find that personal practical theory is mainly theory derived from practice. Yeah, personal practice. Yeah, emerging from experience or practice. Yeah. So they are not theories in scientific sense because they are not empirically proven. They are not empirically proven through scientific investigation. That is why there is also a definition of personal practical theory as beliefs of good teaching. Yeah, Maranen and Stenberg, 2020. This is an example of a description of personal practical theory by an English teacher on providing corrective feedback. This English teacher is from Iran, and this has been reported in a study by Ostofar Namagi and Shakiba 2015. Yeah, this is a vignette. Yeah. I said before that one of the reasons I prefer not to correct them is that for mastering various aspects and skills of language, students are supposed to repeat the linguistic rules they learn many times over. But their language books are designed in a way that they continually face different structures in order to inculcate them. That is, once a form is presented, the lesson moves to a new point. Okay, so this approach leaves no room for repetition and recurrent use of the same rule. So yes, so if you correct a form repeatedly, but later on the student repeat the erroneous form, not because he does not know it, but because he has not mastered it. So from this vignette, Ostofar Namagi and Sakiba analyzed, and this is the result of the analysis. Without directly stating the rule of automatic processing, this teacher explains the rule of repetition, which is the root of automatic use of linguistic forms. Yeah. So he believes that for a language to be learned, much repetition is needed. So this is an example from experience, from practice, that this particular teacher can actually draw an explanation as what we have here. Yeah, logical explanation for phenomenon. Yeah. Even though this phenomenon has not been empirically proven by this teacher, but this is happening throughout his practice. So he believes. So Ostofar, Namagi, and Sakiba use the word believes, that for a language to be learned, much repetition is needed. Now, another example, this is another vignette. I think it's important to be positive as a personality, I think, and so on. And you can read here. There have been a bold here. It's important how to show. It's important to have a lesson plan or of some sort, because you need to know what you want to teach and how you are going to go from the beginning to the end. Okay. This is Richard's analysis of this vignette to show that this particular person has this particular teacher has developed personal practical theory. So what is this teacher's personal practical theory? It is the emphasis on teacher's attitudes. Yeah. So a teacher has to have attitude and the need to create a supportive environment for learning in the classroom. Yeah. This teacher stresses the need for lesson planning, but her justification for lesson planning is based on helping the students rather than helping the teacher. So such an articulation from the analysis is what we finally get for what we call personal practical theory. Now the question is whether all English teachers have the capacity to develop personal practical theory. Yes, of course. Yeah. With the current era, post-method era, with its post-method pedagogy and its principles, particularity, practicality, possibility. I think this is a very famous quote from Kumara Fatiflu 203-206. So in this era, there is a dysfunction between theorizers and practitioners. Yeah. So there is no now distinction that there are two poles. Yeah. The first is theorizers, the other is the practitioners. Teachers are practitioners. Experts are theorizers. No. So in this current era, teachers are also practitioners. Yeah. Okay. So there is a room for us English teachers to be also theorizers. This is what we the theory that we produce is the personal practical theory. We are also have the capacity because I think this era has also been marked by reflective practice. Yeah. And reflective practice is the backbone of teachers' professional development. So this is a diagram by Cortagan and Kessel to show that to develop personal practical theory is possible for all of English teachers, for all teachers. Yeah, you see here, I indicate personal practical theory with small t and theory with big T, capital T, because this is what Cortagan and Kessel have distinguished. Yeah. So personal practical theory is theory with small t. Yeah, which is not scientific in a scientific sense. Yeah. But more on the subjective theory developed from the practice. But for such a theory, personal practical theory, to become theory with capital T, big theory, then the teachers has to go on to a certain process. What is that? Yeah, schematization and theory for formation. Yeah. So the theory with capital T has been defined as a logical ordering of the relations in the schema. It is possible to develop personal practical theory, and from personal practical theory to theory with capital T. Yeah, you know, I think it is important to know that it is if a theory is cannot be practiced, then what's the use of theory, right? Okay, if a theory which has been formed cannot be practiced, then what's the use of theory? So the best theory then should come from practice. This is what is it? The logic that we can develop. Once again, reflection is the backbone for developing personal practical theory. The three kinds of reflection: reflection in action, while you are doing it, reflection on action after you have done your action, thinking about what you did, and then also thinking what you will do, in the coming for example, meetings or lessons. That's reflection in action, reflection on action, and reflection for action. That is why personal practical theory can describe your current state, your current practice. Can also explain your practice, the successes that you have made, for example, and also can predict what will happen. So this is very powerful, means for us to always, to develop ourselves as professional teachers, as well as developing our profession, our fields of study. What is that? English language teaching. Now, from my readings or publication made by both their practitioners, in the sense that English teachers who writes their practice, or researchers, university researchers, or about a class, about a lesson taught by an English teacher, as well as my online survey with English teachers in Indonesia within my network, then I can say that teachers have already had a personal practical theory. This is Garuda. Garuda is a database of publication in Indonesian context, garuda.kemdikbud.go.id. When I get in keywords English, pandemic, and COVID, I found 84 documents. Look, this is what is it? The evidence. Look, there are teachers, many teachers who have already told the world, shared their successes, who have already developed personal practical theory. And when I keyed in bahasa Inggris, pandemi, and siswa, so my keywords are in bahasa Indonesia, then fewer numbers of documents found. What does that mean? That means many English teachers in Indonesia disseminate their practice, best practice, successes, personal practical theory, mostly in English. And my online survey very recently ended last week, asking for respondents' experiences in teaching English during pandemic COVID-19. I asked them about their successes and whether they can articulate their successes as a personal practical theory. This is the respondents number 113 from different levels of education. This is elementary school, less than 5, junior high school, almost 80, 70 something, senior high school 25, and others. Some teachers have taught in one or more levels of education. Look, this is the average teaching experience, 11.7 years. And I'm sorry to put this in Bahasa because I asked them in Bahasa so that there will be no problem in understanding my question. The articulation, they can articulate their practice. Yeah. The aspects that the ELT, aspect of ELT developed during a pandemic by English teachers, most of them have developed this one. I think the best is media. Yeah, I think Prof. Augustine's presentation shows that, you know, AI, for example, use of online learning, online platform, yeah, use of YouTube, use of video, you know, homework, and then record it and so on. This is one of the examples of the use of media. Yes, this is most you know, of the respondents have made use of media, yeah, as one of their successes in their English lesson during pandemic. Yeah. Media, and then strategies, yeah, new ways, new procedures for English language teaching. I think Prof. Augustine has mentioned about the phenomenon in the Netherlands. In February 2020, only 10% of the English teachers over there have made use of online platform. Yeah, and then only 2 months after that, almost 95% English teachers have already made use. So yes, English teachers have adjusted to the development and also to the situation, including pandemic. Yes, technology, TPAC, yeah, you know, but there is one problem in it. This is one of the respondents mentioned. He was very concerned about de-gadgeting students because of the use of technology. Then there are well, yeah. There is less human-to-human social interaction. Yeah, so one of the concerns. Most of the English teachers, of course, feel successful. Yeah, but not well. They're not confident in admitting their successes. 50. Yeah, in a neutral. Yeah, in between. Yeah, success and unsuccessful. Yeah, so. This is why I need to support them, foster them, that they can develop a personal practical theory. Look, we have to tell the world that English teachers survive and even thrive, yeah, during pandemic. Do I have time, Pak Sueb?
Yes, Pak Munir. I think come to the end.
Yep. Where is it? PowerPoint. Okay. Yeah.
So we have 1 minute, Pak Munir, before we go
to
the
ways to support. Yeah, the government regulation and also the professional. So what you need to do? Well, make good records of your successes. Yeah. If you feel you have made a good success, then please make a good record. Make good record of failures too. Yeah. Note down and describe what has worked well and what foreseeable problems and possible solution. Make then a reflection. Make meaning out of your reflection. Share your reflection with your colleagues and professional in the profession. Yeah, so in Indonesia, for example, we have teachers forum, yeah, the M.Pd, and our English department we have PP, yeah, ELD, yeah, best practice, yeah. So as a place, a venue for you to share your successes so that you can articulate your personal practical theory. I believe that all English teachers have personal practical theory. So please make your PPT personal practical theory explicit, by writing reflection on your practices and disseminate your writing in professional networking session, as well as publishing in journal and magazine. And ETC, English Teaching Conference this year, 2031, in the parallel sessions, a good examples of the venues for you to share your personal practical theory. Thank you for having me today here, and I'll welcome any questions in relation to developing personal practical theory. Thank you, Pak Sueb, for the time.
Thank you, Pak Munir, for wonderful presentations related. We got one practical tip example that record our teaching practice. So far, our classroom journals are intended for administrative purposes. Now we need to change our mindset that actually this is a good resource for a self-reflection and evaluation upon our teaching practice. I think that this is a very good way in order to invite us to reflect on our teaching practice.
Yeah,
okay.
So I think the keyword is to thrive, Pak. Yeah, we survive and thrive during the pandemic. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly, Pak Munir. Okay, Bapak Ibu, would like to invite you to give questions and also join the discussion with our two speakers this afternoon. So if you have any questions, you might write down your question in the chat box, or you might raise your hand and would like to allow you to address your question directly to the speakers. Please. We're also waiting for the committee to recap some questions. Okay, so we have Ibu Gilang joining us this afternoon. Ibu Gilang, please, I would like to invite you to address your question directly. Ibu, please.
Hello, Bu Gilang. Hello.
Halo, Assalamualaikum, Pak.
A friend of mine.
Pak Munir, thank you very much for the sharing. It is a very enlightening theories, chance for the English teachers to articulate their belief, because it is not easy. However, I do believe that you have also mentioned that as an English teacher, we have to keep good track or good record, right? From your own evaluations, what could you mention the weaknesses or things that the English teacher have to prepare when they would like to articulate their practical theory? Thank you, Bapak. Thank you so much for your support.
Thank you. Yes, Pak Sueb.
Yes, Pak. So maybe you'd like to confirm, the comment from Bu Gilang, Pak Munir.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Bu Gilang. So Bu Gilang has been professional English teacher for more than 2 decades. Yeah, it's going to be 3 decades. Yeah. So very experienced teacher. So we can classify Bu Gilang as expert teachers, expert English teachers. Yeah, but not many of us have actually made good records of our practice. Yeah, this is what Bu Gilang has mentioned. One of the problems that we have is actually the mindset. Yeah. So from my observation, at the moment we are also Prof. Agustine, we have been running teachers professional program, which will certify English teachers to be professional English teachers. The program runs for 3 months, and at the moment they are in the end of the practicum session. Most of the English teachers in our program has articulated problems with administrative matters. Administrative matters, very often templates of documents that the Department of Education has asked them to submit. Because of the administrative matters that they are focusing on, they are losing critical aspects of their documents. So if this is what they say, if we don't follow or don't use the templates, which is actually very wordy for a lesson plan. For example, they will usually develop up to 30. How many pages, Bu Gilang, usually an English teacher has developed a lesson plan? 20, 30?
If they do copy paste, then it will be 1 page for 1 meeting with me now. I guess. But I have seen the 20 pages of lesson plan as well.
Yeah, that's the case. And most of these 20 actually, what is it? Repetition, and that we can actually simplify them into 1 page. The core points. This is what is actually missing in our, I think, in our profession. So more administrative concern rather than that one, the effectiveness, feasibility of a lesson plan, for example. And of course, when they have reflection, it's just for a report to the school, for example. It's not for the sake of their professional development, not for the sake of improving their career as English teachers. Of course, there has to be collaborative efforts, between the government, teacher education, and also private sectors, including Prof. Augustine's institution, so that everyone feels that there is a need, to be effective, to write lesson plan, for example, effective lesson plan, and we can put aside administrative matters.
Okay, so related to, you mentioned the Prof. Augustine's institution. So we got one question from Artel asking for the position of the teachers, Pak Munir. Professor Agustine, I think this question is addressed to Professor Agustine from Artel. So as the emerging of technology, professors, and you mentioned artificial intelligence. So the question is, where is the position of the teachers and the school? Okay, as we've been working from home, so it seems that we do not need teachers, did not need, the presence of the teachers and the school. So how do we position as teachers in the future? This is the question from Artel, Professor. Please, Professor.
Okay, I think thank you so much for the question, and I think it is a question that we also hear a lot in the Netherlands. Because many teachers think that artificial intelligence will perhaps take over the teachers' work. But I can tell you that this will not be the case, because artificial intelligence is, I think, a supportive mechanism, and it can help us to do a number of repetitive, when you get a composition, you look at spelling mistakes, you look at grammar mistakes. I must say that the fact that the computer can do this for me is a big advantage, because it will give me as a teacher the time to look behind the structure, or into the structure of the composition. And the report of the artificial intelligence gives the teacher tools to give a better advice to the students on how to progress and how to work on those elements that will make the student a better writer. So I think that when you experience these reports, and I invite you to test it with us, you will see that the report itself is not enough. The report itself will not be sufficient to support the student. So the student always needs the support of the teacher to make the report helpful in the development.
Thank you. So I think it leads to the second questions, professors. You know, in some places we have very advanced technology, but the other places are not quite adequate related to the access for the technology. So the questions is from Alia. So is there any ideas, professor, the simple way to make the class fun with the limitation of our technology?
Was this a question for me also? Yes?
Yes, so it's
Okay.
for Professor Agustine.
Yeah, well, I think that we have experience in this field because part of our organization is the English for Kids Foundation, where we work in different parts of the world with children that do not have a very good means at school. And what we can see is that being connected to other countries in itself is incredibly encouraging. And the fact that, so we work, for example, with a school in India, where we send letters. So instead, because they do not have good computer connections, we have students from the Netherlands sending letters to the students in India. And the biggest positive effect of all that is the connection between different nationalities. The fact that the students in one country know that English will help them to communicate with students in another country. And I don't think that it does necessarily have to be on a screen or on using a computer. This can also be in other ways. Of course, the easiest way is using this connection because, you know, otherwise it would be so much harder. But it doesn't mean that it's impossible. And I think that the underlying idea that you are part of a global community, so that you are not there on your own, but as a person, as a student, as a teacher, you are part of an international community. This is, I think, a very powerful element of being a teacher of English. You know, the biggest advantage, one of the biggest advantages of teaching English compared to teaching other languages, at least in my country, is that if you are a teacher of English, you are a world teacher. Because the language is spoken by so many people. And I think what I just heard from my colleague about not surviving the pandemic, but thriving during the pandemic, I think this is so good. And I think that being connected worldwide is a strong point or a strong element of growing and being more successful and thriving during the pandemic. So I completely agree there.
Thank you.
Yeah. So at least we can get two important points that how it actually like to confirm that the existence of artificial intelligence is, you know, not as the replacement of the teachers, but it is more into the supporting mechanism of our teaching. And also that, yeah, of course, that this is how that we survived during the pandemic is already very great. Then, and also the benefits or the privilege of, you know, having English as part of our life is very important right now, especially in the globalizations. Thank you, Professor. So we also, Bapak Ibu, ladies and gentlemen, we have questions from YouTube channel. We Ardelia asking to Pak Munir, especially for teacher candidate. Pak Munir mentions about the teaching experience, especially for the teachers. Now, this is the case for the teacher candidate, Pak Munir. So how we can get, you know, experience in teaching, or maybe I would like to specify it. It might be contextualized with your materials. How the teacher candidates reflects on their teaching practice. Pak Munir, please, Pak Munir.
This is a very good question. You know, if you get in face-to-face English teachers and then beliefs about teaching, you will find so many studies on pre-service English teaching, pre-service English teachers during their practicum. So this is also a chance for the pre-service English teachers to reflect on their practice. You know that they, in their teacher education, prior to their practicum, they were learning many theories, big T, yeah, public theory, we call it, yeah, that have been accumulated in books on, for example, pedagogy, English teaching methodology, and during practicum they can compare, yeah, the theory, yeah, that they learn, yeah, in the practice, how the theory matches the practice. In this way, there is a communication, a connection, yeah, a trade-off sometimes, and also maybe redefining the theory, reconstructing the theory. As a result of this, you know, reflection, they will develop personal practical theory from their practicum. So even, yeah, starting from their teacher education, they can have this one. They can develop personal practical theory. You don't have to wait until you are expert teachers like Bu Gilang. You know, after teaching English for 20, 25, 30 years, then you can develop your personal practical theory. No, right now, yeah, at the moment, during your practicum, you can do that. I'm sure.
What about the capacity, Pak Munir? So as a teacher candidate, so to what extent that they are confident with their capacity, with their existing capacity as teacher candidates?
This is very important, Pak Sueb, that teacher education, yeah, supports them, you know, okay, to develop such a capacity, you know. If we do not open up their mind, then they will never develop. Yeah, that's why it is important for me as a head of English language education study program to, you know, to foster them, to tell them, look, you know, this is actually what is happening in the world. Yeah, okay. So now wake up, you know. Grab your chance, you know, develop your personal practical theory.
So that's why it's very important to, you know, to provide supports in order, yeah, so the students are able to find their comfort.
Yeah, so that they're not afraid. So that, okay, yeah, they are not afraid to you know, to let their critical thinking, you know, for example, questioning the theory that they have from campus during their practicum, and then to reconstruct theory, yeah, redefine the theory sometimes, you know, maybe to correct theory. Look, this theory is impractical, for example. Yeah, as I said, you know, what's the use of theory if it is not able to be practiced? What's the use of theory if it is not practical? So good theory should be coming from practice so that it can be practiced, right?
Okay. Yeah, so it's quite relevant with the idea of post-modern teaching practice, post methods, and teaching practice. It's really important, especially now we are coming into a disruptive era. So the pandemic, disruption from technology, the crisis, the mindset or the perspective, the presence of technology and the post method, it's getting more complex. But on the other hand, we have, you know, very big opportunities to explore and reflect more on our teaching. Okay, so Bapak Ibu, we come to the end. But before we close this session, we'd like to invite maybe last message or last reflection from Professor Agustine. So,
can I jump in? Can I add some more information concerning with personal theoretical practice?
Oh, okay, Professor Slamet Setiawan, please, Professor.
I don't know whether my voice is audible because maybe the connection is not quite good.
It is
audible, Bapak, please.
Thank you. I support. Okay, thank you. I support Pak Munir's idea, talking about you know, personal theoretical practice, and to not, you know, let the candidate, teachers candidate, down, because everybody has its own, their own experience. I would like to share my experience, that before being a teacher, professional teacher, during my career of the students, I joined some, courses, and also giving a private courses as well. During that time, of course, in reading as well. Then during that time, I can find, something that make me probably good in teaching. So combining the knowledge and also the experience, we can construct our own theory, actually. I believe that what I have done so far, results are good for the students in learning English, then we can practice and improve it. That the theory is not always nice and well applied, because some factors influence that. For example, the culture, about the facilities, about the students, let's say, prior knowledge of it. So teachers has a quite important role then in this case to practice and to find out the best ways in teaching and practice it and improve it, keep improving all the time. If it is successfully executed, then of course, what the teachers have been done is their own theory, even though their belief, what they have done are not quite matched with the existing theory. Like Pak Munir said, that the teachers has a role, actually, has a very important role, has capacity to alter the theories that has been prescribed by expert in teaching. But sometimes the fact that the situations, the conditions, the context, is different, that may be different from what they have prescribed and the reality. So please then teachers and also teachers candidates, be creative and find out your own way, of the art of the teaching. Thank you, Pak Munir and Pak Sueb.
Thank you, Professor Setiawan, for sharing your experience regarding the, personal practical theory in these sessions. Okay, so last statement from Professor Agustijn is also related to the question from the short question from the participants. So where is the new directions, for the language teaching ELT after the pandemic? Okay, the new trend. Okay, how do you feel it later on? So what do you see, or how do you see the future of ELT after the pandemic? Professor Agustijn, please, Professor.
Yes, well, thank you so much. I think this is a very interesting question, and I think technology will play a more and more important role in education, in English education, and I think we will benefit from the international connections. So I think that the learning of English will, as Professor Munir also indicated, be reflective practice, a reflection in action, on action, for action. I think this is something that will develop for teachers, but also for students, that we will be looking at recordings, for example, that will be studied in detail, so that having a live meeting is not just a fun activity. Of course, it is good to have a positive experience, but in addition, I think that we should also reflect on these meetings, study them and analyze them, and then come back with very guided advice for the students. And I think this makes it possible for both the teacher and the student to have a better understanding of the learning process. this is what I think will happen in the future.
Okay. Thank you, Professor. So, ladies and gentlemen, so we are going to join to watch a very quick video presentations from Anglia, Indonesia. Please, Ibu Novi.
Hey everyone, my name is Giri Prabowo Aji. I'm a senior high school student from SMA Negeri 2 Bogor. The course went well. I took the B1 intermediate level. Yes, it's my first time. The process for the most part is quite easy, but some part of it you need to get used to the layout of the web and how to sign in to your account. The most interesting part is the webinar, because you can interact with teachers and other students. Yes, it's different. In here you do it online so that you don't need to go in person. You can even do the activities while you are relaxing. Yes, it'll make me understand more while in conversation and while I need to write something. It'll benefit me so that I could get used to speak and read a long text. Yes, because there's a lot of activities that you can do. And the teachers are really nice. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the presenters this afternoon.
Hi, my name is Oriana Nata.
Thank you very much, Bapak Ibu, for your participation on the second plenary session. So let me conclude this session. So actually, we come to the end of our session. We are already over time for about 7 minutes, but okay, let me read some short information from the discussion this afternoon that actually Professor Agustijn invited us to reflect on what's been happening during the pandemic and what's coming in the near future for the teaching of English. So it is not new, but it's newly arranged. So we are encouraged, if we cannot say we are forced, okay, to adapt to the upcoming trends, including technology, artificial intelligence, and learning in the context of broader audience. So the materials from Pak Munir's presentations addressed an issue whether English teachers have the capacity to develop personal practical theory, and of course they do have that capacity, and this is so in line with the postmodern and post-method perspectives that we need to work on to support teachers so that they are confident, or they are gaining their confidence, that they are able to put their positions as the theorizers in their own teaching practice. Thank you very much, Professor Agustijn, Pak Munir,
Thank you
for sharing your idea
Agustijn.
this afternoon. Thank you, Ibu Gilang. Thank you, Bu Novi, Anglia Indonesia, and Professor Agustijn. So we are looking forward to working and collaborating with you in the near future. So wish you all the best, Bapak Ibu semuanya. Stay healthy and stay happy. And I would like to give it back to the MC, Melly. Melly, please.
All right. Thank you so much for Mr. Sueb for moderating the General Plenary Session 2 very exceptionally. So I would like to thank you too to Mr. Munir, Professor Agustijn, Ibu Gilang, Professor Setiawan, and also Ibu Novia. I would like to move to the next agenda, but before that, I would like to remind you that there will be attendance list or exit ticket that will be given by the committee in the chat box. So make sure you check your chat box and fill the attendance list. So from now on, our next agenda will be the parallel session 2. Just like before, to the honorable presenter, you are made join the breakout rooms that are already provided by the committee according to your topics. In there, you will be welcomed by the moderators. And to all of the participants, you may choose any of the breakout rooms and joining there as you please. Yep, the breakout room is already open and the moderator is already there. So you can joining now.
Thank you, MC.
Thank
Yes.
you, Pak Munir.
Thank you, Pak Sueb. I'll join the breakout room.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much, Pak Munir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bu Novi, for helping us. We do appreciate your efforts and giving us the support for this conference. We learned a lot. We do hope that we have a further collaboration with Anglia Indonesia. So thank you very
Pak
much.
Sueb, and thank you also for the opportunity. We will meet again soon. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miss
Novi.
Henny.
Thank you.
See
Thank you very much. Thank you,
Thanks,
Professor.
Prof.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Miss Gilang.
Thank you, Ibu Gilang. Ibu Gilang, thank you very much for the vibrant atmosphere
Thank you,
of your
Mr.
colleagues in West Java. We can see some teachers from West Java. I know in the near future, I think that we need to conduct sharing session. Actually, Bu Gilang, we have the LT best practice. It is like every other month. Yeah. So we invite teachers to share their best practice. I think that in this situation, it is online. So it is very possible that we invite more teachers from West Java to reflect and to share their perspectives. And I think Bu Gilang also really welcome to be part of this forum. It is not this big, but actually it's very, communicative. It's sometimes most likely we invite teachers, we invite students and also lecturers to share their perspective and their perspectives during this session. So we conduct every other month. So hopefully more teachers from West Java join these sessions, Bu Gilang.
Okay, just inform me.
Of course, yes. Now, we do want to hear more stories from our colleagues in West Java, of course, especially them. And across Indonesia, of course, you have a very good, big network, especially in Teachers Council across Indonesia. Hopefully, more teachers are coming up and joining the session. Every other month, I'm going to update you anytime we are going to host the session, Bu Gilang.
Okay, thank you, Pak Sueb.
Thank you, Bu Gilang. Thank you. Welcome. My pleasure. Okay, Melly, please.
Yes, to all of the participants who haven't joined the breakout rooms, you are pleased to join the breakout rooms that are already provided by the committee. You can see the button down there. You just click it and choose any of the room you like. And there you'll be welcomed by the moderator of parallel session inside the breakout rooms. So please, and do not forget to fill the exit ticket in the chat box.